Another solid episode of Impact last night on Access TV. Nothing really crazy to nitpick at, other than the fact that Jonathan Gresham got a World Championship match because Shelley said that he's a former world champion in another company, so that's why Jonathan Gresham got a World Championship match tonight. But other than that, really nothing crazy to nitpick at. Very solid episode. And I'm glad they went back to the Chicago tapings for this weekend next week. And since they're not doing TV tapings like that for the rest of the year, I'm very curious to know and how they're going to execute build for the TNA Hard to Kill pay-per-view, because you have this week and next week of actual TV tapings, and then the rest of the year it's the IPWF and I believe a Mexico joint show, which will probably span over 2 weeks, and then you got Final Resolution. And based off the match that they announced for Final Resolution, I'm not really sure why that match is there specifically with the participants. We'll talk about it right now. So they announced that Final Resolution is going to be Sabin and Shelley versus Josh, Alexander, and Zack Sabre Jr. Okay, so with the very limited opportunities that you have to build your World Championship match between Shelley and Moose at the TNA pay-per-view, why is Shelley not being involved with Moose for the last Impact special? I'm not saying they should have a match against each other, but I just feel like Moose should be involved in this tag match. It's why is Josh there? Based off of this, is it going to be Zack Sabre Jr. versus Chris Sabin for the X Division Championship at the pay per view? Because why else is this match happening? Is it just a special match for? I mean, let's be real here. The arena that they're having Final Resolution is Santino Marella's um wrestling school venue place. It holds like 100 people. So I don't understand. I don't understand that match announcement, because Shelly has nothing to do with Shelly and Moose, and Josh shouldn't be in this match. And if they're setting up Sabin and Saber, have somebody else, make it Zack Saber Jr. and Moose versus Sabin and Shelly. I don't know. I just feel like that match is. I'm sure it'll be great, but I don't know. The very limited time that you have on your TV schedule for the rest of the year, you gotta try to sell and build to the Hard to Kill pay per view as much as you can, and it kind of just feels like they're relying on the TNA name to sell this pay per view. Now I get it that they're not doing TV tapings because they're trying to up their production, etc., etc. But you got to build this pay per view, and there's only one show left of a regular TV taping. That's next week. So I don't know. I don't get that match announcement, but that's for another day. We're here to talk about what happened last night. So the show opens off with Tasha Steelz and Deonna Purrazzo. Now, I want to say this real quick. I would have saved this for the pay per view, but based off what happened on Turning Point, it seems like they're fast tracking this feud between Deonna and Tasha for Deonna and Gail Kim. That's what it feels like, because why else would they do the Gail Kim spot at Turning Point if they don't have a match? Kind of doesn't make sense if there's no follow up on that. my opinion. Even though Gail Sisters retired, well, she's unretired several times. So I don't know. I don't think they do what they do at Turning Point if they're not setting up Deanna and Gail. And if they're not setting up Deanna and Gail, I don't understand why this match between Tasha and Deanna was on TV. So they better be doing Deanna and Gail. Otherwise, I think this feud with Tasha could have been stretched out till the pay-per-view because there is history there. There is backstory there. You know, they went to the same wrestling school. All this other stuff they talked about on TV, Team Adams thing. And they were a force, I want to say force, but a brought together tag team because Impact doesn't have women's tag teams. So they do these makeshift tag teams. And they challenged for the Knockouts Championship for whatever reason they did. And they had this function in the match to set up this match here. And thank God Tasha won because I don't think it was the right decision to have Deanna win here because Tasha just came back. I know Deanna's been eating a lot of L's, but hey, man, not everybody can win everything. So, and Deanna's in a tough spot. A lot of people think she's leaving. I hope she doesn't leave. She's really turned her career around with this company. She never did anything much of relevancy with Ring of Honor. She never had any kinds of realistic opportunities with NXT. She got a Raw call up that didn't last long whatsoever. This company has given her a lot and has turned her true career around. I don't think we would ever see this version of Deanna ever if it wasn't for Impact. So I hope she doesn't leave. And if she does, you know, good for her. I hope everything works out. But getting sidetracked. But I'm glad that Tasha did win this match because I feel like she definitely needed to. They did a lot. This was probably one of the best women's matches on any wrestling TV show in recent months. Very good, very technical, very smooth. You know, most of Impact's women's matches aren't sloppy or anything like that. It's usually smooth. Deanna's she's the best technical women's wrestler, in my opinion, in the world. She's so good. Matt style technical wrestling. And Tasha, listen, Tasha's very good too. So I'm glad that she won this match. She needed to. She just came back. Deanna can eat another L, I guess. I still don't know why she got a Knockouts Championship at Turning Point. But should I talk about the Twerk Fest? Fuck it. They had a Twerk Fest in the match, and hey, listen. Deanna was throwing that ass. I'm not gonna lie. She was throwing that shit. So was Tasha. And look, man, TNA is right around the corner. Y'all know what TNA stands for. And there was a lot of TNA. Hell yeah. Even TNA chants. Shout out to the Chicago crowd. But yeah. Tasha wins. She beats Deanna clean with 2 cutters. And that's that. So here's the thing. So if we are going towards Deanna and Gail, what does Tasha do? She can't just beat Deanna and then not do anything going forward or anything at the pay-per-view. Unless she's going to be the next challenger for Trinity or Jordan if Jordan wins, which I don't think is going to happen. But beating Deanna clean is a big win for Tasha. So she should probably most likely be next in line for that Knockouts Championship. And I just want them to follow up and execute on that and don't lose track of Tasha Steelz. Then we go backstage to Alex Shelley. He says that Jonathan Gresham is lucky. He says that he's earned a shot because he's a former world champion. Now, like I said at the beginning, why the fuck does Jonathan Gresham get a world championship match because he's a former world champion in another company that is the drizzling shits today? I don't understand this random championship matches, not just in Impact. AEW is 1000% guilty of this, and I've hated it. I still don't understand why Daniel Garcia beating Trent Beretta warrants him the balls to call out MJF for a world championship match. And I don't understand why Mark Briscoe wants Jay White's championship match because of whatever the fuck the reason was. I went over it on those reviews. You can check it out if you want. But just these random ass championship matches. Samoa Joe and Keith Lee. What did Keith Lee do to earn a ROH TV championship? What did Now I know Gresham posted on Twitter something along the lines of like goodbye or something like that. So maybe his contract was up, and they wanted to give him a world championship match on the way out, or maybe they're not renewing him or something. I don't know, but they can't just give championship matches away. These are your championships. It kills prestige when you're just handing out championship match. You can't just do open challenges for your major world championships. World championship, your tag team championship, your knockouts championship. Sure, you could do open challenges with the DMC belt or the knockouts tag titles, because there's quite frankly not a division for those titles. I wish companies, like I said, it's not just an Impact thing. I just wish companies would treat their world championships better by making people earn championship opportunities instead of just handing out opportunities and making up some ridiculous bullshit reason why that said person deserves / earns a world championship match. Speaking of this topic, we go backstage to the Bullet Club's Ace Austin and Chris Bay, the Impact World Tag Team Champions. They said they did a lot of celebrating after winning the titles back. Ace said he had a 2-hour convo with DDP. Bay says he and Ric Flair tried to switch Rolexes but decided not to. They said they're gonna walk into TNA as the first ever TNA World Tag Team Champions, which is pretty cool. You know, this rebrand thing, all these champions will technically be on that day the TNA champions of their respective. So it is pretty cool to think that Ace Austin and Chris Bay are going to be the first ever, well, not first ever, but in this new era of TNA, that they're going to be the first ones to hold those new tag team belts. It's pretty cool. They're my favorite tag team. Santino Marella and Kenny King and Sheldon Jean come in a frame. They start arguing. Kenny wants to know why he's not getting a DMC rematch. Blah, 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 blah. And then they start beefing with Bullet Club for whatever the fuck reason, just because they're there. And Santino Marella, I was just talking about this, just gives Kenny King and Sheldon Jean AEW World Tag Team Championship match next week. What? What? I just talked about this, so I'm not gonna talk about it anymore. But it's just like my point. Why? Impact does have tag teams. Not a deep division, but they do have tag teams. You couldn't do like a number one contenders match or something instead of just handing out tag team championship. Yeah. So that's next week. And as far as I'm concerned, there is no direction for the ABC for Hard to Kill. Unless next week there's some fuck finish or a DQ and Sheldon Dream want and Kenny another match and they do it at the pay-per-view. I have no idea. Let me get Jonathan Gresham. Oh, I'm sorry. Too late. Let me get Tommy Dreamer versus Crazy Steve for the DMC Championship. And Crazy Steve is cashing in his Feast or Fire briefcase for his shot at the DMC Championship. And I'm just going to be honest, the less I say, the better. I like they did this whole repackaging with Crazy Steve. They got him away from Black Taurus, and he's doing a feud. Tommy Dreamer. I like Tommy Dreamer. He's done a lot for the business, but this is just something we don't need. TV in 2023. I know a lot of people give Bully Ray shit, but listen, Bully Ray is so much better than Tommy Dreamer. And in today's era wrestling. Tommy can cut good promos. But this whole I just don't think this on. And I hope they rebrand or rename the DMC Championship to something else. Bring back the TNA Television Championship or something. And it was really cringe when Tommy Dreamer gets Crazy Steve's fork, says "fork you" over and over again to Crazy Steve. I just thought it was cringe, stupid. You don't need this on TV. And it makes it worse because, like I said, they repackaged Crazy Steve, and he loses via DQ because because Crazy Steve pushed Tommy Dreamer to his. Now Tommy Dreamer's gone crazy hardcore psycho. This is not good. We don't need this on TV. Get the belt off Dreamer. Something. Let me get a Jonathan Gresham backstage segment. He says that tonight he'll prove that dedication and honor to the craft of wrestling will get him that world championship. We'll see. Then we get Brian Myers versus Joe Hendry. This match is happening because of what happened at the gauntlet match at Bound for Glory. So Hendry's in the ring cutting a promo for the match, like he usually does. He says TNA is not the only thing going through rebranding. He says Brian Myers is no longer Edge's bitch, that he is Adam's bitch. Edge is no longer in WWE, and AEW is Adam Cole. I'm not gonna lie, the show was hilarious. That video that he played for Cardona and Myers back at the beginning of the year, the Edge's bitch thing, was priceless. Go, if you haven't seen it, go out your way to try to find it. So the match was fine. It was probably one of the better Brian Myers matches I've seen in a long time. He does poke Hendry in the eyes and hits his finishing move, the roster cut for the win. I thought it was interesting that they beat Hendry here because Hendry has been on a roll lately, especially with the UK stuff. Won the Scottish Cup and then he beat Simon Miller, so he's on a roll. And then Myers beats him. Granted, he cheated, but I don't know. I was a bit surprised by this. I don't hate it, but I still think Hendry should have won. But I don't hate this decision, especially with what they do later with Musa Myers. But yeah, Then we get Will Ospreay and Josh Alexander hype package for their match next week. Basically, just showing off, their highlights of each other, rings, or. And then we get Ospreay backstage. Ospreay says Josh is talented. Wants to find out if if Josh has what it takes to be the best. See that match next week, man. I'm excited. It's almost like they were like, man, we may not sign Ospreay, so let's just bring him in before we could probably never use him again, and just have him wrestle our best guys. And Speedball, Eddie Edwards, and now Josh. You get all the big matches out of the way. Now I would love to see Ospreay and Moose. That's just me. Or Ospreay and Ace Austin and Chris Bay. Even though they're a tag team, but singles match wouldn't hurt. I just feel like there's plenty of more good matches you can get out of Ospreay, other with Edwards, Josh, Speedball. Hell, run it back with Speedball. Do another match with Josh. Not complaining. But anyways, so that leads to Eddie Edwards versus Eric Young. They played this up pretty well, talking about how they're former world champions in the company. That's true, man. Eric Young, for a long period of time, probably going back to the Team Canada days, all the way up until he left for NXT, was arguably the heart and soul of TNA. I'm sure a lot of people will say AJ Styles and Bobby Roode, but Eric Young's a real unsung hero when it comes to TNA history. And I know a lot of people don't necessarily like Eddie Edwards, just think he's bland and uncharismatic, etc. But listen, Edwards has been there since 2014. It was whenever the year MVP came into TNA. Just came in. And Edwards has been there for, God, it'd be 10 years next year, I believe. True unsung hero. I think he's currently the active member on the roster. Moose got there in 2016. Crazy Steve was there, but I'm pretty sure Edwards predates Crazy Steve. Saving and Shelley been in and out a lot. So yeah, I mean, this is pretty cool. Edwards and EY having a match. Now, I think this is something you could have built up into, or a pay-per-view match. You could literally do this at the pay-per-view. Edwards and Eric Young, but they kind of just gave it away on TV. So I don't know. Good match. Eddie and Alicia try to cheat again, but it backfires because Alicia hits Eddie with a kendo stick, and then Eric quickly hits him with a pile driver and beats him 1-3. So I hope this isn't the last of Eric and Eddie. I feel like you could tell something here, or do something here, considering the history that they have, respectfully. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this. We get Moose and Myers backstage. They question each other's loyalty to one another. Moose is upset that Myers was tagging with Cardona during the Battle Royal, and Moose has his World Championship match, and etc. etc. Hey, look, I thought they looked pretty well together on the UK tour. 2 shows, Turning Point and the TV taping. I didn't see no animosity or dissension or anything like that. This was, I don't know. I don't understand where the animosity is coming from. As far as like what we've seen on TV, just kind of says like, kind of feels like they just wanted to say it. Start maybe a breakup between Moose and Myers. Who knows? Heath comes into frame, says he wants a match with Myers, and then Moose has Myers' back, and Heath says he'll take them both on. That leads to a match next week between Heath and Moose. Heath is another guy that a lot of people think is gone. Um, I've enjoyed some parts of Heath's run in Impact. I feel like you could. I feel like he could be used better. Honestly, like I said, there's been some stuff I've liked, but I feel like he there could be more done with Heath. But we'll see if you stick around. Then we go backstage with Sonny Kiss. Sonny says that Sonny would have won the Collar Shot Gauntlet, and Sonny would have challenged Trinity the Knockouts World Championship, but unfortunately that didn't happen. Trinity walks in the frame, says that she's going to talk to management to get Sonny a match with Trinity next week. They got approved. So we're going to see Trinity to Sonny Kiss. This is not a Knockouts World Championship match. I believe they didn't advertise it like that. This is just a match. Then we get Dirty Dango, Oleg Brutus versus some jobbers. Brutus just beats everybody up while Dango goes to commentary table. And then once Brutus beats everybody up, Dango gets back on the apron, tags himself in, hits his finish. 1, 2, 3. Listen, I've really liked and have enjoyed a lot of the stuff that Dango's been doing. But ever since they brought in this fucking guy, it just hasn't been working for me. Now him and Bravo's fine, but when you had Oleg Brutus, the former Vladimir Kozlov, it's just not working. I don't even know why this guy is employed. I see Jordan Grace backstage. She talks about her win at Bound for Glory and says she's gonna make history at Hard to Kill. And Bully Ray comes into frame, couple minutes of trophy, and then we see Kylan King come into frame. Says that she was in the final four and that Jordan's win was a fluke, etc., etc. And then Bully tells Kylan to pipe it down a notch, and then Kylan says, "You were my teacher. What you told me was to never back down." And then Bully's like, "Yeah, I said that, but when I tell you to knock it down a notch, you do it." Macklin comes in a frame and calls Bully Ray soft again, and then Bully reminds Macklin that he's the one who put Macklin through a barbed wire table at Bound for Glory. And yeah. So we get a mixed tag match next week between Bully and Jordan versus Kylan King and Steve Macklin. So I'm assuming Macklin and Bully Ray is the pay-per-view, right? A lot of the Hard to Kill stuff is coming together, right? Got Moose and Shelly, Trinity and Jordan, Gail, Deanna, maybe Zack Sabre Jr. versus Chris Sabin, and it's just talking about Bully Ray and Macklin. It's a pretty solid lineup. I'm not even gonna lie, and still don't even know if they're gonna do X match, and we don't know who's challenging Ace and Bay. So this Macklin and Bully Ray stuff is kind of intriguing to me because Macklin's been calling him soft, and if there's one guy you don't want to piss off, it's Bully Ray. So we'll just have to see how they execute this. Now, does Bully win? Or does Macklin win? Because Bully's been kind of playing the babyface here in this specific storyline. So we'll see. I am interested to know what that finish is going to be. Then we get the Rascals backstage. We get Trey Miguel and Zachary Wentz. They talk about all the different iterations of the Rascals on Impact over the years. And they introduce Myron Reed. I don't think Myron Reed has gotten the signing graphic yet, but If he is signed and they just didn't do the graphic thing, fantastic. This guy is really special. He's really good. I've never watched a full MLW episode, but every time I see an MLW clip pop up on my Twitter feed, it's always two people. It's either Alexander Hammerstone or it's Myron Reed. That's all I've seen over the years when it comes to MLW stuff. It's always been them two. So listen, I'm excited for Myron Reed. I know he has connections with Trey and Wentz. I'm interested. So is Myron gonna be the single guy now, or is Trey gonna go back to being the single guy? Because when Xavier was there, Xavier and Wentz were the tag team, and Trey was the single guy. So I'm curious to see if Trey and Wentz are gonna continue to be the tag team while Myron be the single guy, or is Trey gonna go back to being the single guy? I don't know, but fantastic addition. Can't wait to see what this guy does. Put him in an Ultimate X match pronto. They will have their debut match next week against, I think it was Taurus, Juventud, and Laredo Kid, I believe, is the match. So, looking forward to that. We'll see what happens. Main event time: Jonathan Gresham versus Alex Shelley for the Impact Wrestling World Championship. Again, a match that shouldn't be happening. Gresham just being given a world championship match because he's been a former world champion in another company. This just doesn't sit right with me. I don't fuck with this at all. But for what it was as a match, I thought this was one of the best Jonathan Gresham matches I've ever seen. I've really liked his match with Chris Sabin at Hard to Kill last year, I believe. And I really like the Gresham and Zack Sabre Jr. match at Final Battle like 4 years ago. Those two matches come to mind when I think of Jonathan Gresham, and then this one just got added to the list. This was really good. I think, if Gresham is going away, I think they should bring him back at some point. He's too good to not be on any roster. Just because he's short doesn't mean shit. I've seen so many fight videos on Twitter of short people knocking out big, fat, or just big and tall people all the time. It doesn't fucking matter. He is a technical god. He's one of the best technical wrestlers in the world. When you got to put him in there with Danielson and Zack Sabre Jr. You just have to. He is a fantastic, technical, mat-based wrestler who can escape any hold, get you into any hold. He's so smooth in the ring. I hope they bring him back at some point. And for Shelley, even though I just don't think this match should have happened, Shelley looked really good here too, but I just thought that Gresham looked better. Shelley 1000% should have won the match, and he did decisively. The shell shock. And it's all about execution from here. Like I said at the beginning of the show, this next week is the last week of a real TV episode of Impact. How are they gonna carry the build between their matches across the IPWFs TV episodes, the AAA joint show, the Final Resolution Impact Plus event? I just want to see good follow up, and I hope we can get more clear on what Hard to Kill is gonna look like outside of, was it the 4 matches that I think the 5 matches that I've pieced together. So we'll see, man. Next week, Josh and Osprey. I am excited for it. I can't wait to watch it. I can't wait. Oh, I can't wait. But that was Impact Review for November 9th. 2023. Very solid episode. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Like, comment, subscribe, all of that good fun stuff. Notification bell. Follow all my socials. It's on the screen and it's in the description. I'll see you guys tomorrow for SmackDown. And New Japan's got a show in Texas tonight. Lone Star Shootout featuring Moxley and Yuta versus Finley and Kenta. That's the only match I can think of off the top of my head. But yeah, so tomorrow you're gonna have a SmackDown review and a New Japan Lone Star Shootout review. So look out for those two tomorrow in the morning at some point, or if not in the afternoon. I know I got this Impact vid out a little late, but I'll playing the new Modern Warfare 3. Give me a great fun game. But yeah, I will see you guys for the next one. Peace.